And now my conversation with Gwyneth Paltrow, the young actress who stars in Emma, and her director, Doug McGrath, a former writer. The interview took place at the Lowell Hotel here in New York. People have said about you that you could have had a starring role before this. You took a series of minor roles after people sort of recognized you as a young actress that had a great future. Why Emma? What was it about this Jane Austen novel that said, go?
How long is your program? Well, you know, it's very uncommon, being a young actress, that you come across any sort of substantial leading roles, especially if you're under 25. And for quite a while, it was really my intention to do smaller roles and work with interesting people and to learn as much as I could, because I wasn't in any kind of a rush. And when I read Emma, because I read the screenplay before the novel, it was just so brilliantly written, and the character was so full and complicated and lovely and faulted, and it's just very rare. I can't convey how rare it is for a role of this nature to be written for a young woman.
Brilliantly written by the adapter or by the original novelist?
Well, both.
Just leave it at that. Enough, I think, right?
Brilliant, period. Yeah. But what did she say? What is it about her that you find interesting? I mean, you have said before that she learned. There was a quality about Emma learning that appealed to me from experience.
Yeah. Well, I think that the most we can ask of ourselves as human beings is when we make mistakes, because we all certainly do. I think the only thing that we can really ask of ourselves is that we really understand what we've done and to learn from them, because that's all of the power that we can have. And I loved that she made mistakes and that really ended up understanding what she had done and really learning from them. I loved that human aspect of her.
And how was it to work with a first-time director?
Well, in this particular case...
I'm glad you thought I was here so I could...
In this particular case, it was just wonderful. It was an extraordinary experience, and Doug is roughly the funniest and smartest man I've ever met, so it just, no, but I'm being honest.
You mean he's on the top 5? Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely in the top 5.
Yeah.
It was just extraordinary. He came to the project with such vision and such deep understanding of the direction of the piece and the depth of the material, and also brought such a lively spirit to it. It was just a joy to go to work every day. And
well, was there a point in which you said, listen, McGrath, I know this is your first time out, but my career is on the line here. This is my first starring role. You, sir, better get it right.
Well, you know, every other day or so I would say that.
She did have a hatchet in the face sometimes.
I never thought that. I was very confident.
Take me through the process. Emma, I think the 4th of the 6 novels of Jane Austen.
I think the last.
The last, because she died a year later, didn't she? Written about 1816. Your favorite.
By far.
How do you adapt her to screen?
It's not that hard, really, because unlike a lot of great novelists and a lot of great novels, this novel is all told in dialogue between the characters out loud. You know, so many great books, like Gatsby, are great for other reasons than that. You know, Gatsby's great because the prose is so great, and the way Fitzgerald tells the story is so great. But if you take that prose out of it, what you're left with is a story about some drunk people on Long Island who can't really pass their time very well.
Now, we know some of them, don't we?
That's often how I spend my weekends. So on Emma, though, Emma happens out loud, you know, in the most beautiful language, the most articulate kind of prose, and the wittiest kind of prose. So the whole story happens as a movie should happen, meaning through the speech of the characters. So that makes it easy, by which I mean possible. The hard part about adapting Jane Austen is that to get down from 400 pages, which is what the novel is roughly, to 100 pages of screenplay sized pages.
Which is about 2 hours.
Yeah. that is very painful. If you love the book as I did, you hate to cut anything, and you also feel quite presumptuous cutting anything. And so you're always saying, well, maybe we could just put this one more line in. And at one point, I had a script that was 140 pages. You know, people would have had to bring medical supplies to last through the run of the movie. So, you know, you have to shrink it down, and that's hard.
And so you do that by an outline.
You do it by an outline.
Start with an outline of what?
Well, actually, I wrote at the top of every page in the book what happened on that page. Yeah. And then I took all of that and put it into an outline, and then I looked for places where there were repetitions. And there were some repetitions. But
yeah. And here's what else you did.
Oh,
you
good.
said, I'm going to put her in every scene. There's only one scene that you're not in.
That's true.
You know?
Well, that's why it's called Emma. You know, I mean, she's in it all the way. And that was a particular burden for Gwyneth, because she has to, if she doesn't work...
She has to carry this movie.
She has to carry the movie. And if you don't like who is playing that part, or the way she's playing it, you won't like the movie.
You were a columnist for The New Republic. You worked for Saturday Night Live. You had never directed a film, but you were always, what, wanting to do this?
I loved this book. When I read this book, I could see it as a movie. I could see the coming attractions. I could see the little part where they tell you to get
You could see the trailer?
No, I just always saw it as a film, and right before this movie, I'd worked with Woody Allen on Bullets Over Broadway, and I got to watch him work, which taught me a lot. I didn't go to film school, but by working and being around Woody, that helped so much.
You have wanted to act since you were born.
That's true.
You know, because it was in your genes, or just because there was something about being around an actress and being around someone who was involved in theater that... Would you have been an actress if your parents weren't in the business, so to speak?
You know, that's very difficult to say, because it's sort of environment versus, you know, genes, and who knows the answer to any of those questions. But I think it was because I grew up watching my mother, and she was so magical. And I just remember, you know, watching her in rehearsals or in costume fittings, or and she would pretend, you know, and then everybody would come and sit and watch her, you know, pretend to be somebody else. And I just thought it was the most extraordinary thing.
If there's anyone in the world who doesn't know who your mother is, Blythe Danner, and your father's Bruce Paltrow, who was a producer of St. Elsewhere and some very good and high-quality television. Having said that, what did they give you? I mean, when you look at the way that this career has gone for you in terms of what was it that they said, not by saying, but by who they were, that you ought to do?
Within this career?
Yeah.
I think the most important thing they've done is to support me in my choices, and to let me be very free in my choices, and never offer opinions unless asked, or unless they really see some kind of trouble. They're very trusting, you know, and they did, I think, a very nice job in raising my brother and myself. So I think that it offers them a tremendous freedom now that we're grown up, in terms of the choices that we make. And, you know, I grew up seeing them produce very high-quality work. So that's something that I think innately strive for.
There's something else your mother did. She opted for a well-rounded life, too.
Yes, she did. She gave up, I mean, true movie stardom to raise us and to be a mother, you know. She was offered all of the leading roles in the late 70s, early 80s. But we were young and we needed her, so she stayed with us.